Look at that beauty. How gorgeous. Hey, it's time for another garden tour, you guys. It's been a couple weeks since I have been out in the garden with the video camera, so there's a lot been happening. So I'm excited to show you how much the tomatoes have grown. My rose finally has a bud on it, even though when I shot the video yesterday, I did not see the bud, so I didn't put it on camera, but as soon as that thing blooms, I will show you. I'm really excited about that. So let's get started. I'm going to get a little bit of a glimpse of the garden. This is after I have applied mulch to almost all of the garden. I like just a couple rows up here. But I want you to look at how everything is growing. Now this is just after 2 weeks. 2 weeks, y'all. Everything is just looking so fabulous. That's my chamomile. The rose is getting big. These are the tatsoi greens that I'm really excited to include in a salad. They have such a distinct flavor. It's so different than probably any green I've ever tasted. I really like these. And they are higher in vitamin C than almost any green you can imagine, according to what I read. Look at that garden, y'all. I've got a cattle panel up, ready for the tomatoes. One of them's already growing up it and leaning into it. Let's get a little shot of all of these potatoes coming up, because I'm getting ready to put some more straw down on those. That straw does a couple things. It helps to protect the tubers once they start to develop, and it also encourages growth up along the stem of the potatoes that are the indeterminate variety. Indeterminate potatoes grow in more than one layer, and determinate potatoes grow in one layer. And here comes little Farmer Brown. Here's the raised box, the one that's beside of the in-ground bed. What's the matter? Give me just a minute. Let me film a little bit of this. Look at the green beans, y'all. That thing is turning greener, and it is really growing. Even though the bugs are still trying to eat the leaves, it's moving on. So are these cucumbers. Look at this. It's really growing in length. And that one that has not grown since I planted it is getting a little green. It may decide to grow. The soybeans have not done much. That's this guy right here. And this guy. I may need to put a little more Miracle Grow on them. And that's when the beans really started taking off, is whenever I put a little bit of Miracle Grow on them. You can come in here. Come on. Okay. The flowers are not doing great. I'm hoping they'll eventually take off. Like I said, I'm not a real good flower grower, y'all. Vegetables is my thing. What, honey? The onions are doing fabulous. Look at those onions. What, honey?
He ate all the flies.
I got the little farmers today.
Mama.
What, honey?
My Jack eat all the flies.
He did.
And he was very good at eating.
These are the Brussels sprouts and the cauliflower. The ones on the end where they get a little more shade are growing better than the ones that are out here in this hot sun. These are not real crazy about the hot sun. There's all the peppers. They are really doing well. Some of them have peppers on them. Let's see if we can find one. Here's the extra large jalapeno. It has several on it. Here's the Fresno, which I find interesting. This is the first year I've ever grown the Fresno. They grow upside down. I thought that was interesting. So there's one that I lost a label on, so since it's growing upside down like the other Fresnos, I'm going to guess it's a Fresno. I just may have a little too much help today. You got to watch these guys in the garden. They like to tear stuff up and pick stuff that don't need to be picked. This is the long, thin cayenne. It's already long and thin. I cannot wait to see what this thing looks like at maturity. Y'all, it really starts getting exciting when you start to see the fruit on all of your plants. There's another long, thin cayenne. This is the chamomile I put over here in the in-ground garden to help attract pollinators. Isn't it beautiful? It's also medicinal, and you can make tea with it. I see a tomato on the vintage wine. That is an heirloom I'm really excited to try this year. This is the first year I've done the vintage wine. I also see a couple tomatoes on this one. This is the Jet Star. This is my other vintage wine. They produce early, obviously. This is the Mortgage Lifter. Look at that. Looking beautiful. I do not understand why he loves laying in the mulch or the compost or something like that. And this is the Campari. This was the very first one to have tomatoes, and it has several now. This one was the first one, and you can see it's getting pretty good size. I can hardly wait till that thing starts to blush. So exciting. And here is my blue Hubbard squash. This is my decoy. The blue Hubbard is a favorite of the squash bugs, and I always have issues with squash bugs in this garden, and so the blue Hubbard is awesome. I just planted it 4 days ago, I think, and look at that thing already. I planted 2 seeds thinking that at least one would come up, but 2 actually came up, so I'm just going to leave both of them and let them go and see what they do. Really? Don't you think it's a little hot for sunbathing, Jax? It's a little hot for that. I need to do some more pruning out here. You can see that the leaves, some of them are still touching the ground. I need to prune those back, but I'm not going to do it in the middle of the day when it's super hot like it is right now. We'll wait until this evening when it's cooling down. We don't want to put them under too much stress because it can harm them. And anytime they are weak, they are susceptible to any kind of bug or disease. So let's go out here and see what's going on in these raised beds. Some of the flowers are looking good. The purple one is starting to come back, because you know I don't do really good with flowers, so I'll need to replant a couple of those. The tomato and the potato that I have together are both doing well. I don't see any baby tomatoes on this one just yet. The bean that I have over here is doing good. Yes.
There's all flowers for you.
Thank you.
Hey, you want to go take me away?
So that's the purple coneflower, which is also echinacea. So hopefully it'll get some blooms soon. Getting there. And the tomato, that's the black strawberry. Yeah, that's the black strawberry, which is a cherry tomato. We'll walk over there and see how those are doing. And look at this. It's a little baby tomato on my black strawberry tomato plant. That's a new one this year too. I'm really excited to try. And right here on this kajari plant, which is a melon, see if I can get it to focus. It's not going to focus really well, but anyway, that is a little baby melon. There's actually two of them. I don't know where I saw the other one now, but I just saw two of them. So in the morning, there it is, 1, 2. In the morning, when those flowers open up, I will sneak out here and do a little bit of hand pollinating to ensure that those get fertilized. I don't see any on this one. This is where I'm going to plant the green seedless grapes that I've been going to plant for weeks now. The rose out here is finally starting to grow. I trimmed it way back in the spring, so that's why it is so late. It may not bloom this year where I trimmed it back so bad or so far. The potatoes in this are doing magnificent. This is the blueberry plant from last year. It's really small, but it's starting to get some new growth on it. And it has a couple blueberries on it that may not amount to much, but that's okay. The other blueberry plant is doing much better. This is the big blueberry plant that I have. It's getting blueberries on it in several places. That's exciting. That's my walnut tree in the little small container. My sweet potatoes are really starting to come along. Those are growing really fast. They have a lot of new growth on them already. Those are so prolific and they love that heat. It was 90 degrees today. And this is probably the only plant that really loved that. Well, that and my tropical flowers back there. These are the two raised beds. Wow, this tomato has really took off. It's getting a lot of growth on it. Look how thick and wide that stalk is. That thing is really taking shape. I don't see any tomatoes on it yet though, but it does have some flowers. My winter crookneck squash, which is the Canada crookneck squash, it's doing really good. That also is a crookneck squash, and wow, it's really outdoing the other one. I need to get this one going up a little more. Well, doesn't want to stay. This is one of the tomato plants that I lost the label to, and it looks like it's probably going to be some cherry tomatoes, and I bet it is probably the Campari. Look at this pretty little tomatoes. There's about 3 or 4 of those. And look at this thing. Good night. That is my sunflower. That is the mammoth sunflower, and that thing is getting huge. I'm gonna show you the stalk on that thing. Look at that compared to my hand. That thing is huge. It'll be getting a bloom very soon. Oh yeah, it's got a nice little bud right there. I don't want to pull it too far over and break it. I hope it doesn't shade that tomato too much.
Mama.
I see it. Thank you. This is another melon.
Mama.
That's the Petite Gris du Rhin. Got a flower back there. I believe that's a marigold. Watermelon beefsteak. I see flowers, but no fruit. Flowers back there behind that. Zucchini. That's my cauliflower. That's my little flower picker right there. The raspberries are just going crazy. They're growing out of the little wooden enclosure that I had for them. I obviously did not know anything about raspberries when I planted those. My purple grapes are starting to grow. I put marigolds in here. This is another Petite Gris de Rennes alongside of the Kajari. Those are growing. I need to put those up on the trellis a little bit more. These are the African daisies. They were beautiful just the other day. Some of the blooms are starting to die away a little bit now. This heat is really taking a toll on these things. This is my pumpkin that I would really like to have this year. I tried to grow pumpkins last year and I was not successful. The chamomile has not grown a whole lot. The chamomile over in the other garden is huge and already blooming. This is one of the watermelons. I don't know what kind. We'll have to wait and see. If we get a fruit, we'll figure it out. If not, we may never know. This is another melon. And I don't remember which one this is. It's either a Kajari or the Petite Gris de Rennes. Or actually, it could be a cantaloupe too. I only have 3 of those kind of melons. This is a blue Hubbard squash. This is another melon and another watermelon. So all of these are doing well. A couple of these are the ones that I about killed. This one here on the end is the tender sweet orange, and I am so excited to have that one, and I hope and pray that that one does well. And I'm not going to walk out to the trees, but I'll just zoom in a little bit. The trees are looking good and healthy. What you doing? And I do want to show these flowers just because these are some of the flowers that I have. Some of the few that I have that are successful. And these are just beautiful. These have done really well. They have grown a lot since I first brought them home. They're so beautiful. I also have some Japanese iris that we did not know we had until my husband cleaned this bed out. And they're really small and petite compared to a regular iris. But the colors are so vibrant, so beautiful. Thank you all for joining me for this garden tour. I hope you all have a great day and God bless you.